Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this webinar on predictive AI in fundraising. And thank you for joining. It'll take up to half an hour, so I hope you will get something out of it and some inspiration at least. Okay, thank you. Let's get started here. So, Ally. What we do and what we're going to talk about when we talk about predictive AI in fundraising is, of course, how predictive AI can solve some challenges that we at least meet when we speak to the fundraising industry as such. And I guess it's no secret that you always need to get more out of your fundraising budget. And also it can be tricky just to have any handles that can quickly and effectively increase the effect of the fundraising efforts you do, and that is what predictive AI in fundraising can support. And some of the challenges we see often is, of course, a need to increase donations from the donor base, the existing one, but of course also from new donors, and getting them in as donors and regular donors is, of course, one challenge, but keeping regular donors loyal and committing, and while doing that, in communicating, avoiding fatigue and avoiding them leaving you as regular monthly donors is, of course, also a challenge that many will face. And then I think that we see a lot, and we meet it when we speak to people, of course, is how to always be in line with the new groups of donors and their needs, and how to attract new ones when circumstances are changing. So to address new audience and develop new challenge for fundraising is, of course, also a challenge that we often meet. Let me invite you to ask questions in the chat along the way, and we will, of course, try to address them as we go along. So, what is predictive AI, and what is predictive AI in fundraising? In short terms, it's about foreseeing a future behavior by analyzing historical data on individuals. And the key word here is data, because data is what we need to be able to do this. So what predictive AI can do is that it can allow you to identify patterns that you wouldn't see with your own eyes, or you will have to do lots of manual work to establish, and then predict the behavior when there's no effective rule. And that is often the case, right? That you can have some rule-based segmentation and all, but to do a really efficient prediction when rules are tricky to make or hard to maintain or costly to maintain, that is where predictive AI has an advantage as well, because it does it for you. So, who is Ally and who are we here? Well, as you may already have established yourself, we are here to help non-profit organizations increase the funds dedicated to their cause, so that it doesn't end up in too much marketing effort that is not productive. And we want fundraising departments to know as much about the donor's future behavior and use the insights to get better results out of the effort in fundraising and campaigns. That's what we do. So, and we are a platform. We are a predictive AI platform. We analyze first-party data. That means that it's our clients' data we use for this to predict the future conversions or the future personal content for the organization's donors and leads. So, we are a SaaS platform, already said that. We are founded in 2019. We are based in Denmark, clients in 7 countries. with 12 employees by now. And of course, we pay very close attention to the GDPR rules because we are handling data, and we're certified as such. And since the platform is built in 2019, we were born, you can say, after the GDPR rules came. So we are kind of by design compliant to GDPR. So what advantages do we believe we have we get from predictive AI in fundraising? If we look at today or before, you use rules for segmentation in the fundraising business. You do manual data analysis, and of course, some have worked more deeply with some data science as well, which is also common depending on your resources in the organization. But with predictive AI and the advantage you get that instead of rules and segmentation, you get an individual view on the individual donor's likelihood to donate, to churn, to leave you what it is. So it's individualization or personalization that you get out of this. Then you get automation. The machinery, the IT does it for you, and that's of course something that you can take advantage of here. And then you're going towards donor centricity, looking at the individual donors instead of groups of segments that you communicate to via rule-based segmentation. So what we want to do is, of course, to secure an increase in funds raised and, of course, also lower costs. That should be the goal for this. So looking at this, the adoption of AI in fundraising, we looked at this non-profit pulse report from earlier this year. And what we can see is that AI is well on its way into some kind of maturity on the adoption curve. And if you look at these things that I have circled here, it says that 21% are curious but not using AI in fundraising yet, but exploring ways to bring it into our organization. And the next ring text is the one with the 13% in it, excited, already making use of AI in our organization. This means that it's not at the very early stages of its adoption yet to use AI in fundraising, but it's getting up on towards the curve, towards the top now. So now it's the time for many, is what we read out of this survey here. So going on to something not general but more specific is looking at a case from an allied client. Handicap International, or Humanity and Inclusion, as they're called in English. It's an international NGO supporting vulnerable people across the world, and they are present in several countries. And of course, as many, they also have a need to increase their funding. So they work in a diversity and have a diversity of donation challenge. Donors' behaviors shift along the way. Economic conditions has been changing a lot over the past years with the high interest rates and such. And of course, HI has to adapt to all of this to still be an effective fundraising organization. So what they have done with us, at least, they have done lots of other things, I'm sure, is to use predictive AI to better target its campaign, to reduce donor churn, and to optimize donor engagement. And we'll look into some of these things on the way here. So for Humanity and Inclusion, looking at to the right side, we are looking at a direct mail campaign that they have optimized. And we looked at the campaign before and after. That means that we looked at how did it perform normally and how did it perform afterwards. And we can see that they have this on the left side. They have a return on investment on a direct mail campaign before Ally on 88. That means if it's krona or euro given out, they paid 1.88 back. But after optimization, it's all the way up to 110 67, and that means figuring out who is actually willing to donate, and then contact them that are actually willing to donate, save the cost, in this case from direct mail, and get a better result on the bottom line. So that's the purpose here. What we also see with the HI is their ability to focus and know who will actually leave them as regular monthly donors if they do not take action. They have a 5% average churn rate, and that's over, I think, a 3-month period. And what we did together with the HI was to predict which donors were more likely to leave them than others. And in the group of the highest likely churners, the 10% highest likely churners that Ally pointed to, we could see that the churn rate was not, of course, 5%, but it was all the way up to 61%, giving HI an opportunity to address a smaller portion of their contacts with loyalty activities, and not doing it for everybody or a larger group of people. So within the 10%, they had 61% of their churners actually. Good. Looking into some other types of use cases, and we'll look further into the ones that I just presented here as well, these types. What we see and what we support together with our clients here at Ally is what we see as the full donor journey. That's in our view. Yours might be a bit different, but it's all the way from acquisition to retention. We support organizations with predictive AI. In acquisition, with prioritizing leads, who to contact, who not to contact, saving cost. In nurturing of existing donors, who will donate in the next campaign, who will not donate, who will upgrade their donations, and who are not likely to upgrade their donation if we ask them. And then also looking at you can say the donor lifetime within the organization, or their lifetime as a donor, who are more likely to convert from one-time or sporadic donor to a regular monthly donor, who are not. And all the way out to the right, retention, we just talked about that, identify who will churn, and also be able to recommend the right or effective loyalty communication if you run different loyalty campaigns. And remember, it's on an individual basis each donor at a time. So, and not large groups. So we will look into these types of campaigns with examples now. Personalized content, that will come in the end, looking into how does that work with Ally. We will look into first here, identify who will donate in the next campaign, and look at a very specific example. And we'll also look into deeper into a churn campaign, or a churn prediction, actually. So first case, we have an NGO that needs to select the number of send-outs, mails, posts in an upcoming direct mail campaign, and the purpose is, of course, to maximize the result of this campaign. So what Ally does is to make a prediction of donation, what is the likelihood of donation per known contact, and then defining a threshold, knowing the cost of sending it out, then defining a threshold, so how many to send to in the next campaign, and not only how many, who to send to in the next campaign. And then what we do in this case is that we predict it, but we send out to everybody, and then we compare the predictions with the actual results. That's how we can see a result that is what was the baseline result and what would the result have been using Ally. So looking at it here, you see the first line is an as-is line that is sending out letters to 18,900 in the top left corner, 18,958 persons or people, contacts in the base, hit rate of plus 19%, income is around 1.5 million, and cost is 200 84,000, and the net result is 1.2 million, and the return on investment 293%. Optimized with Ally, this campaign would only have been sent to plus 13,000, increasing the hit rate to 27.5%. Same income, almost. Cost reduced significantly. Result goes up by, the result is 1.3 million, and the return on investment goes up significantly as well. So, but the green numbers show you the net results. I mean that by sending to the right, the most likely givers, the hit rate is increased by 42%, and the bottom line result is increased by 70,000. And that's, of course, what you are aiming for by doing this exercise with us. So let's go on. And these numbers that you see here are actually the same numbers. It's just looking at it from the Ally system, from our reporting dashboards that our clients get access to. So that is basically what it is. And I just wanted to show that it's not numbers taking out of a randomly, it's taking out of our system from a specific case. How does this work? It's predictive AI, it's AI, often and sometimes considered a black box. How does it work? And we commit ourselves to, you can say, it's a kind of a wave called explainable AI, which means that we have and give access to what data points do actually explain the results of the predictions. That means that our clients are able to go in to look at their own data, because it's first-party data, and then look at what made this model, what data made this model predict the way it did on an overall level to the left, and also on a more specific level to the right, saying something about how much did this particular data point weigh into the explanation of the model, and did it weigh in positively and negatively, and is it high values or low values of that data point that explains the model. So this our clients have access to as well with us. Good. Going fast forward, we will look further into a churn case. We already discussed that a little bit early on, but in this case, the NGO wants to identify the potential churners to test what loyalty activities work with the highest likely churners. So, based on historical donor and response data, Ally predicts which regular donors are most likely to churn in Q4 23, and then the predictions are compared with the actual results on churn in the end of Q4 23. It's the same methodology that we used for the direct mail campaign that we discussed early on. So the Q4 churn rate was in this case a high 12%, with 1,113 churners out of 9,313 subscription. But then looking at the group of churners that Ally had predicted as the highest likely 10% of in the group of subscribers, the 9,000 plus subscribers, in that group of the highest likely 10%, according to Ally, actually 59% of the actual churners were found. And that means that they could address this group with some precision, at least, or way higher precision than they could on average, of course. So that's the case here, and that is what it was used for. And as with the direct mail case we looked at before, looking into the Ally system and the dashboards, the results from a churn prediction will look like this. You can see each of these groups to the left side are groups of 10% of churners, so they are decentiles going from left to right, dark blue to light blue, highest likely churner, highest likelihood of churn, least likelihood of churn, and below, what was the result? How many churners were actually in the group of the highest likely churners? But it's the same data as we just saw before. It's just visualized in the Ally system. Last But absolutely not least, we will look at personalized content for fundraising. And early on, we spoke about the adoption curve in AI, and I will tell you that what we see is when we talk personalized content, we are still in the early days of the adoption in fundraising. We are running the first projects with or implementations with clients on this now, but at an early stage. So this is something that we have experience with from other branches. But let's have a look into it. Content recommendation. We have a client saying that we don't know which story has the best chance to trigger a donation. So what this NGO is striving for is to increase digital conversion and expand to new donor segments outside of the ones that they already have or know they are good at attracting. Sorry. So what Ally does is to using predictive AI to recommend which content is more likely to convert for each visitor, potential donor, on a landing page out of the organization's content list. That would be all the articles, all the pictures, all the things that the content you develop to describe your course and to document it. Sorry. So the content recommendations are then based on the user's interests and on the interests of users with similar profile displayed as the individual person lands on the landing page attracted from a digital campaign. And the data used for this includes web tracking and AI automated analysis of all the content that an organization has in its system and all the pictures it has in it. And then the individual's profile and the relevant content from the organization are paired and organized and ranked in order from most relevant to least relevant. And then you can display what is most relevant to the individual on the landing page. And content is displayed, of course, in real time. As the person gets in there, it displays the content relevant for that person. Good. Data. I said it in the beginning, and I will say it now, that the data is, of course, the foundation for this. And these are the types of data that we typically use when we do the predictions that we have discussed, I have talked about in this webinar so far. Contact data, response history, transaction history, subscription history, campaign information, and tracking data if you do personalized content recommendations as well. So these are the types of data, and data that many have already, of course, in their CRM system and in their content management system. And that is what we use to predict future behavior. The flow when working with Ally is basically that you see in the top left side there, that's the data. Ally needs to have access to the data, and we can do that in several ways and are flexible on that, but we need to get access to the data. We build the AI models to predict. We do the predictions of a particular case, and then we export the data back to our clients. And as you see in the top right corner, it's just an example of two lines that is two contacts, contact 10 and contact 11. And in the middle, they have each a score. One has a 0.2 score and the other one has a 0.7 score. And this is, I can see this is for an Easter direct mail campaign. And 0.7 score indicates that there's a high likelihood of donating for this particular client, and the 0.2 score for contact number 11 is a low likelihood of donating. And you can see we have some top text saying top contact or percentage of top contact. These are just filters that you can set up in any way you want it. Do you want to see the top 10% of the likely donors or the best 5,000 or whatever? Then it will be organized that way. Workflows down below, that's automations on our side. Everything is updated regularly with new data, tracking changes in the donor environment, new financial situations, other things that will affect the donor's willingness and ability to pay, that will be part of the next scoring, because all campaigns that have been carried through, the data from that is of course updated within the AI models at all times. So you have a new fresh score on each contact for every activity you do. So if you work with Ally on a regular basis, then the flow is like this. Data from the CRM systems, typically, it could also be content management if it's personalized content recommendation, goes into Ally, and we send predictions your way back into the specific table or where you want it delivered. And then you get access to dashboards to constantly overview the effect and the results of the campaigns you optimize with using Ally. So that's the way it's going to work in production. For NGOs, we have an offer. That's our NGO offer. That is actually testing Ally out before committing at the end to a contract with us, and that is testing on your own data, on one or two historical appeals, just the way as we have described it here, looking into something that has already happened, and then see what would this have been if we had predicted the results beforehand. And this is a live score, because you can actually see what would have happened if you had used Ally. So that's the proof of value that we offer free of charge for non-profit organizations. And based on that, the results of this proof of value, you can build a business case to see, okay, with these types of results, is it then relevant to go on and work with Ally in our fundraising organization. So that's it, and that's that. And before we move on, we have a question that is actually very relevant. That's about the what amount of data is needed. And of course, I said with anything else, that's hard to say, but we do have some some guidelines here. We need typically 2 years of history. More is fine. 2 years of data history. And then we are talking data when we're talking number of contacts. We are talking contacts in the thousands, not in the hundreds. So these are guidelines, but depending on how much signal is in the data, putting a fixed number is often hard, but that's why we have the proof of value. Yes, thank you for that question. Very relevant. What do you want to do? There's another question here. Where do organizations typically start? Do you have a recommendation about where to start and how? Yeah, I do. I think you should actually start where you believe you have challenges and where a prediction of a future outcome of an fundraising campaign or ongoing fundraising activities such as telemarketing. You see, okay, this could be, we believe that if we could improve this significantly, then it would be a financially sound decision for us. You should definitely start there. And how? That is just to, if it's with us, then you book in a meeting, you contact me. And then we just take it from there, looking into whether it's feasible to do a proof of value. If not, then we leave it at that. If we think, okay, there could be something here, then we can move on to a proof of value. So that would be how to start. But just reach out. And there's a question again. I think I may not have another question. I may not have touched that enough. Yes, it's a question about if the donor data are well protected GDPR-wise. And yes, they are. They are in Europe. They're within the GDPR zone. And another thing is that we do not receive any names and such. We only receive a contact ID on our client's contact. So we don't know who we are actually scoring. Our clients know because they know what person that contact ID relates to. But apart from that, all GDPR regulations are, of course, taken care of, and we will go in and sign a data processing agreement, and also before sharing any data, of course. Okay, I think that was it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for now. Please visit us or reach out if you are interested. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Have a good day.